we're going to go on to Meet the McCains. And so last time when we talked about this, we kind of talked about where Brenda was upset with me. Yeah, ain't that a shame? And she was upset about the fact that, we were looking at the house and I just stepped into the door and I said, this is the house that God is going to give us. And she hadn't even walked into the door yet. What? And that's true. Automatically true. When I first stepped into the door, God said, this is the house that I'm going to give you. And when I told Brenda that before she walked into the door, she's like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know what God you talking to, but I ain't seen the house yet. And so she was a little bit upset about it. And so, we got into the car. I think I mentioned this. The person was working with, the agent said, maybe you all should look at some other cars. And I said, maybe you all didn't hear me. Huh?
What did you say, some other cars?
I'm sorry, some other houses. Did I say car? I mean, look at some other houses. Maybe we need to look for cars, too. Look at the other houses before you make a decision. And I said, maybe you didn't hear me. God told me this is the house that we're going to have. And so today's segment of Meet the McCains is going to be Eckols versus McCain. Because at the time that we were talking about this, Brenda was not married to me yet. And you'd have to make the decision comment on it. After I told you that and I said this is the house that we was gonna get, did your mind think that you was going to remain in Eckols for a while?
Because I thought he was crazy. I was like, God God didn't speak to me. I mean, now I know God don't have to speak to you, and he gave the head of the house to be. He whispered something in his spirit, but not in mine. But I really was upset by that because I'm like, we really haven't looked at a lot of houses. I think we have probably seen about 4 or 5, and you was ready to make a quick decision. I'm like, but if this is the house I'm going to spend my life in with you, or at least the beginning of it, I want something that I like. I want to see the house. I didn't even get one toe in the house.
But I can understand that some people will be, upset about that. And I think we've got some, people who wrote back on there said they was upset about it. And so now we're in the situation where we're having Eckols versus McCain, because now she's upset with me and she wanted to continue to look at some houses. And so what was on your mind at that point when we were driving back? Because I forgot her name, but the woman was with us.
I forgot.
She was saying, maybe you all should talk about this. And she got out the car. And if I remember, I don't even think you wanted to talk to me. You were just mad. I
didn't.
I can't believe you did that, And I can understand, the first relationship that you're getting into, you want to, make a decision together.
I'm going to say this to you. In the car, I remember saying, I love him, but I don't love him that much for him to make that big of a decision.
Wow.
And I meant that. I was so mad because I didn't talk to you that night. I remember going home and sharing that with my mom, and my mom actually saved you.
No, your mom saved you.
No, she saved you in my eyes because she has said, Brenda, he's a man of God, and if God is speaking to him, he don't have to speak to you. And I, me being me, looking at Mama.
I always love my mama.
I remember looking at Mama, and I was mad at her because I'm like, Mom, really, if Daddy pulled that on you, and she did say that wouldn't happen because, see, the thing was, Daddy wasn't a man of God. Sorry, Daddy, love you. But he wasn't a man of God, and she was always a spiritual woman. So when they went house hunting, she more so, this is what I need because if I'm going to be running the house, she needed to know that. But when she said that, she just said, pray on it. And, I stayed mad at you a while because I really want to see. We did look at other houses after
I think
that.
we did look at other.
I was going to ask
we
you.
did look at other houses just to appease her.
Okay.
And, none of them was right because we didn't tell them when we did get in the house. I still was upset because I was trying to find everything wrong with that house. They got green carpet. The dining room is brown. It's ugly. They got a black wall. Everything.
They had some carpet down there that looked like it was from the 1950s. I was waiting for them to say, Monday, Sunday, happy day, because it was really old. But, I just know when I'm going to tell you all the honest God truth. When I walked into that house, it was just like a spirit of God spoke to me. And the words was clear as day. This is the house that I'm going to give you. Almost like someone was speaking in my ear. And it was like, wow, it's that that feeling of God saying that I'm showing you what I'm about to give you, that he's already predicting how your future is going to be. I know you're looking for houses, but this is the house that I'm going to give for you. And so we had a little issue, about that because, Brenda is a little bit more, calmer now. We call her Betty Shabazz, joking around because that's the, the radical part of her. Brenda, 20-some-odd years ago, was even more radical. She would have given Beyonce that power-up hand stuff like that. She'd have gave her a run for her money back then because she would speak her mind and then some, And so I'm like, okay, God, this is the house you're going to give me. This is the woman you're going to give me to?
Yes, I need to. Wow, Rick, you act like I'm rough.
I mean, she was very opinionated. She would tell you what she thought, and she let me know that she was not happy with me on that decision that I made. But, and I could understand that, but I was very firm in that decision. I usually don't make decisions like that. Even today, most of the decisions that we make, Brenda does make. There are some things that I make it to sit now. The radio show is something, another vision that God gave me.
I was looking at
the radio show is another.
Keep talking to
the radio show was a vision that God gave me, and you two hard-headed people had to just follow. But because of that, it was one of our first major arguments. And so what I really wanted to talk about, just real briefly, is just how you handle those kind of arguments. So, Brenda, talk a little bit about how we would handle that kind of argument today, being more mature Christians than what we should have done then.
Okay, I have to backtrack. Back then, Betty Shabazz, a.k.a. Brenda Eckols, a.k.a. Betty Shabazz, would shut down, say what she had to say, very opinionated, and be like, you are right. But anyway, now I actually pray about stuff before I come to you. Then I didn't. But now it's like, because we know each other's personality, our buttons and stuff. I pray about a lot of things before I even bring it to you, and praying that it does not be an argument, but more of a discussion that we could actually solve. Because you're probably against it, don't like to go to bed angry, because I remember one time you said sometimes you can't solve everything in one night, but with me it's not sweeping it under the carpet. It is for me just want to get that situation over with before we go to the next one. I want to just clean house with something.
Yeah, only thing I could say is for me, I would stay with my decision, but I know at that time I probably wasn't as I didn't bring it to you the right way. I should have brought it to you in a more softer way, other than maybe in a demanding way. This is the house that God's going to give us.
And when
this is where we're going to go.
And see, when you do stuff like that, it does.
I don't do that anymore.
When you do stuff like that, it makes me react that way. When he come hard, I come hard.
I see that.
And then Rick always say, but that's how it was back then. When you came to me hard, I bucked up and came hard too. Because it's like, I'm not that girl that you think, which most people think, she can't bust a grape or anything. I'm that girl going to go toe-to-toe. You come to me that way, I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you. It's not going to be okay.
It's almost like Muhammad Ali Frazier.
Seriously, that's how it is. But now it's different. Rick always say, I like the softer approach of you. Come to me in a softer way. I would be that feminine lady that you want, that wife that was always submissive and would want to do stuff. It's a difference when you want to do for your husband versus, God, I feel like an obligation. I got to do that. I don't never want to feel like that.
Yeah, and so, the thing about it is that, we've both learned that we could have handled the situation better. Although God had spoken to me, I didn't have to be so, demanding or dictating on the answer. This is not what we're going to do. I could have also said, hey, baby, let's pray that we're in agreement with what God has given me, instead of not doing it. And so what we're just basically telling people is that, if you're in a situation where you're having a major argument, take the time to pray about it and work together with that situation where you're not going to allow that situation to dictate how your marriage goes forward. Now, there was something that happened that made Brenda decide that maybe she is with a man of God. Not just her mama saving me to be with her. And I thank Mama for that because, that's one thing I can say about Mama, Eckols Seals now. She is always a level-headed Christian, is going to give, good advice. And I'm glad she did that, with her daughter at that time. But something happened during the course of us looking for houses and making the decision on that house that Brenda actually found out that maybe, just maybe, this is a man of God, and God did tell him about this house. Ooh. And, of course, we'll bring that back to you next week on Meet the McCain.
All right.